Hello, how are you? Happy Friday, August 16. The title for Friday will always be Further Thought. Boy, I can't wait till I preach my sermon tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be in Palmdale preaching a sermon on Revelation 6. I hope you can join us or tune us on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. I'm willing to give every single donation that I get from Google for the construction and the building of the Temple of Act. One of the reasons I'm doing these daily podcasts or devotions on the quarterly is because I live 2 hours away from my church, and I cannot go and spend 2 hours every single day, 4 hours traveling just to give the Sabbath school class. So I tell my teachers, English, I do it in English, Spanish, I do it in Spanish, to review the lesson. And I hope these reviews, these stories can help you illustrate. Because don't forget, 99% of the students who come to your class have not studied the quarterly. So you're teaching to 20 kids or 20 elderly people who don't have a clue what the lesson is all about. That's why I want you to use these illustrations, these stories, to wake up the interest and keep them awake. Okay? So I'm going to do the 3 questions of the discussion questions. Question number 1 is read again Mark 8:27 and 29. Well, in order to know what Mark 8:27 and 29, you better have it in your heart. You better know it by heart. And that is the moment Jesus says, "Who do men say I am?" Oh, some people say you're Jeremiah. Some people say you're Elijah. Some people say you're John the Baptist. Some people say you're one of the prophets. And then Jesus says, "But who do you say I am?" And Peter raises his hand. "You are Jesus the Messiah, the Christ, the Son of the Most High, the Son of the living God." Then he says, "Don't tell anyone. Keep it to yourself." So the question is, now that you know the scripture, here's a question. How often during the week do you confess to others you believe in Jesus as Christ? My response is this. If you're planning to confess during a sermon, it ain't going to happen. Few people preach. If you're planning to confess to others in a discourse, it ain't going to happen. A class, it ain't going to happen. Standing up like the Rose Parade with a megaphone and saying, "Jesus is Christ," it ain't going to happen. Nobody does that. Nobody in the church does that. People will think you're crazy. The key to confess Christ is in your life, in your reaction, in your personality, in your temper control. That is the way you confess to others. And how often? 24/7, 365, every minute, every hour. Like we study during the week. You separate from Jesus. You stop praying. You stop studying the Bible. You stop bringing someone to Christ. You will become arrogant, proud, and you will end up in sin. But if you're with Christ 24/7, wake up in the morning, before you hit the 14 freeway, you spend 13 minutes on your knees. 3 minutes for prayer, 3 minutes for Bible study, 3 minutes for inviting somebody over the phone, 3 minutes for worship with your family. If you do those things in the morning, you will be confessing to others your belief in Jesus Christ 24/7. Question number 2. Now, this is a harder question. What is the right balance between the mountaintop experience of communion with Christ and the down on the plain experience of service to the needs of other people? Have you noticed that Jesus never preached a sermon, very seldom, almost never, preached a sermon without feeding the multitude? Most of the time, after a sermon, he would say, "Give ye them to eat. Give ye them to eat." In other words, potluck. In other words, dinner time. The question is very clear. How can you balance between Martha and Mary? Remember the story of Lazarus? Martha, cooking, potluck, dessert, lettuce, vegetables, garbanzos. That's Martha. We need Martha in the church. We need Marthas in the church. But we also need Marys in the church. Mountaintop experience of communion. I'm not saying this one is better than this one. I'm not saying this one is better than this one. I'm just saying that we need both. And I hope that you that are listening to me can either be a Martha with the food, the physical food, or a Mary, inviting people to be baptized, giving Bible studies, organizing the hour of worship, organizing the deaconesses for communion. Yes, I hope you can do either be in the team of Mary or Martha, because that is how you keep a balance in the church. Both are important. Question number 3. How can you learn to take sin so seriously that, as Jesus said, you are better off to be maimed than to sin? Well, you're going to have to take drastic measures. And one of the things I love about my dad is that one day when I was 11 years old, he threw away my television on the trash can. I still heard it, the sound of the glass breaking. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but maybe somebody that is listening to me has a tequila problem, brandy shot problem, drinking problem. I'm here to tell you that it's time to open your refrigerator and throw away your tequila, throw away the wine, that $3,000 wine from France. Blue sticker. Black sticker. $3,000. Pastor Benjamin, but that's a lot of money. Yes, it's a lot of money, but it's more expensive for you to have liver with cirrhosis. Which is more valuable, your liver or the drink? So it is time to take drastic measures. If you don't have strength, call me up on the phone. I'll go to your house and throw it away to the trash directly, and you will stop being borrachito pueblo joven. Somebody with a drinking problem. Lasing. No more lasing. You will be set free. But in order to set free, you have to throw away your refrigerator contents of beer, of Budweisers, of brandy shots. And I finish with a story. More than 1900 years ago, I love this story. Perhaps this is my favorite story of the 7 stories that I told you during the week. There's this man born contrary to the laws of life. This man lives in poverty, is reared in obscurity. He doesn't travel extensively other than Egypt when he was a baby. He doesn't possess any wealth. He doesn't have any influence. In infancy, he startled a king. In childhood, he puzzled doctors. In manhood, he ruled the course of nature. He walks upon the waves as pavement. He hushes the sea to sleep. He heals the multitudes without medicine and makes no charge for his service. He never writes a book. And yet perhaps all the libraries of the world cannot hold the books that have been written about him. He never writes a song. And yet he's furnished the theme for more songs than all the songwriters combined. He never founds a college. He never founds a university. But all the schools put together cannot boast of having as many students. He never marshals an army. He never drafts a soldier. He never fires a gun. And yet no leader ever has more volunteers who have, under his orders, made more rebels stack arms and surrender without a shot being fired. He never practices psychiatry. And yet he has healed more broken hearts than all the doctors far and near. Once each week, once each Saturday, once each Sabbath, once a week, multitudes all over the world congregate worshiping, assemblies, paying homage, paying respect to him. The names of the past, proud statesmen of Greece, successful leaders and kings of Rome and emperors from the empire have come and gone. The names of the past scientists, the names of history philosophers and theologians have come and gone. But the name of this man multiplies more and more. Though time has spread 1900 years between the people of the generation and the mockers of his crucifixion, he is still alive in heaven. He lives forever. His enemies cannot destroy him, and the grave cannot hold him. He stands forth upon the highest pinnacle of heavenly glory, proclaimed of God, acknowledged by angels, feared by the demons, and lifted up by God Jehovah to be the King of kings and Lord of lords. Happy Sabbath, and we will continue tomorrow.